let's just get right to the heart of it. The whole story boils down to this one question. What is the real truth about dealing with life's problems? We all have them, big and small. But how we choose to face them, well, that makes all the difference. And this story, it offers a brilliant and honestly a pretty surprising perspective.
Our story kicks off in a place of complete peace and quiet, but we're about to see just how fast a safe haven can flip and become a source of absolute terror. So, let's meet our hero.
Okay, so picture this. Deep in a lush green forest, there lives this super kind-hearted rabbit. His home is this big, spacious cave, and he was really the heart of the whole forest community, always there to help his neighbors. For him, life was simple, it was good, and it felt perfectly safe.
But then one day, it all goes sideways. Our poor rabbit has a really tough afternoon. He'd found this perfect, super rare carrot only to drop it and lose it in a river on his way home. So he's tired, he's hungry, he's bummed out, and all he wants is to get back to his cozy, safe cave. But right as he gets to the entrance, he's stopped dead in his tracks.
He's trembling, and he calls out, "Who's in there?" And from the darkness of his own home, this terrifying voice just booms back at him. "I am the one who breaks the bones of the rhinoceros and crushes the elephant to dust." The rabbit just freezes, pure terror. How could a small creature like him possibly face a monster like that?
So what does he do? The terrified rabbit runs for help, of course. He gathers up the mightiest, strongest animals in the entire forest. Surely, with their combined power, they can handle this intruder. But what happens next is this parade of powerless strength, where all that muscle, all that brute force, was completely useless against the power of fear.
And what's really fascinating here is how each animal failed. First up, the wolf. He struts up to the cave, totally arrogant, but the second he hears that voice, he's gone. He just flees. Then the tiger tries to use his powerful roar, but when he hears a voice that claims to crush elephants, he knows he's outmatched and runs. The rhino, he's furious that his kind is being insulted, so he charges forward, only to break into a cold sweat and retreat. And get this, finally, even the mighty elephant, upon hearing the threat, panics and runs away faster than the tiger did. They were all defeated without a single punch being thrown.
So, just when it feels like all hope is lost, with all the strongest animals in the forest just huddled together, terrified, an unlikely hero steps forward. And, wouldn't you know it, it's the smallest one of them all.
Yep, it was a tiny little frog. He just hops forward and calmly offers to solve the problem. The rabbit, he's skeptical, and the other big animals who had come back to watch from, a safe distance, they just start laughing. How could this tiny frog possibly succeed where they had so spectacularly failed?
But the frog's response was so simple and so profound. He just said, "I don't care if you doubt me, I will try." And this, right here, illustrates the huge difference. This wasn't about strength or about size, it was about having the courage to simply try, to face the unknown instead of just running from it.
And so the small frog hops up to the mouth of that dark cave. The entire forest just holds its breath. This was it, the moment of truth. It was time to finally confront the monster. With the courage that none of the other animals could muster, the frog stood his ground and shouted into the darkness, "Come out and face them!" And there was this tense silence, and then a little shuffling sound from inside, and then something slowly started to emerge from the cave.
And what came out? Not some monster that crushes elephants, not a beast that breaks rhino bones. It was one tiny little caterpillar. The animals were just stunned, and then they all burst out laughing at how foolish they'd been. You see, the cave's unique shape had created this powerful echo, turning the caterpillar's tiny little voice into a terrifying, monstrous roar. The fear they felt, that was real. But the monster, that was just a matter of perspective.
Okay, so what can this incredible story about a caterpillar's echo teach us about our own very real fears? Well, the lessons here are surprisingly practical, and believe me, they go a lot deeper than you might think.
This story really gives us a powerful three-step framework. First, an unexamined problem will always feel monstrous. That little caterpillar left in the dark became an elephant crusher in their minds. Our own small problems, when we refuse to even look at them, do the exact same thing. Second, courage isn't about being fearless, it's about being curious. The frog's bravery wasn't in preparing for some epic fight, it was just in being willing to take one step closer to see what was really there. And finally, the most crucial point of all, avoidance is the fuel for fear.
The wolf, the tiger, the rhino, the elephant, they all prove that running away doesn't shrink the problem, it magnifies it in your mind until it becomes absolutely unbeatable. And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with today. Just take a moment and really think about it. What small, manageable problem, what caterpillar, is currently in your life? And what echoes of doubt or anxiety or worst-case scenarios have you allowed to turn it into a terrifying, elephant-crushing monster? Because sometimes the very first step to quieting the roar is simply realizing that it's just an echo.